Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me once again for tea time. So today we have some gunpowder green tea. So good. I need a little bit of spunk today. It's Monday morning and it's gonna be a long day, guys. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate each and every one of you being here. So today we're gonna be talking about Sigma and their brand new FP camera that's going to be coming out very soon. They just had the announcement. We don't know price as of yet, but it looks really cool. And I want to talk to you a little bit about it today. Now, it is a modular cinema style type of 4K camera. It does stills as well as video. But like I said in the title of this video, Blackmagic, watch out. There's something about this that I think that is really going to kind of push Blackmagic and a lot of other camera manufacturers when it comes to this. And I think it's going to be price, and I think it's the sensor size and what they are able to do with this. Now, I'm just going to go through a couple of things with you. I'm not going to get into all the specs. I'm going to cover some of them that I think that you would care about, and the rest I'm just going to leave out. All right. You can find, there's so many other videos about this out there. There's a lot of write-ups, and of course you can watch the video itself of the release, right? So I just want to talk to you a little bit about my thoughts on it and just have this conversation with you because I want to know what you think about it. Is this something that you would like to have in your stable, something that you would like to shoot with? Now, like I said, it is both video and stills. Now, what I find interesting here is Sigma is notorious for putting out Foveon Sensor cameras, those weird looking cameras, you know. I absolutely love Foveon. Now, some people don't. They don't like the way it captures. It is kind of odd, but it does a really good job for me with color. And color, let's say authenticity, you know, really getting that color just the way it needs to be. So if you're shooting food photography and you want to make sure that your meat looks like the exact color of that meat that that chef just produced for you, Foveon does a really good job at it, in my personal opinion, in comparison to a bare array type of sensor. It is a full frame sensor, unlike Blackmagic that has a smaller size sensor in it that also does 4K. Now, what I thought was very interesting in this video, in this promotional video, is they showed the name, or how they came up with the name kind of thing. Whereas you had the FP and it broke down the FP and it said fortissimo and pianissimo. Now, what's interesting there is fortissimo would mean like very loud, or pianissimo would be like very soft. And that's kind of if you were doing some type of music scoring. It's a way to indicate, my understanding, I'm not a musician, but it's a way to indicate dynamics, all right? How loud something is relative to something else, not necessarily how loud. So you have fortissimo and pianissimo. I thought it was interesting seeing a Japanese company using Latin words or Latin derivatives to notate or to say what this camera is by its nomenclature, right? I thought that was really interesting. Now, we saw that Nikon did the exact same thing with their extremely fast glass. What did they call it? Nacht glass. Nacht meaning, in Latin, night, right? So you have extremely fast glass, really good at night. Nacht. So I thought it was kind of cool. There's a little bit of tidbit of useless information. My ADD thing, I start like grabbing like, I don't know, just things. So I just want to share that with you. I thought that was kind of cool. I like to see that when they kind of have this play on words and they're using Latin for it. And this is an Asian company. Anyways, so getting into the actual meat and potatoes here. This is, like I said, a full frame 4K video camera. Does it do stills? Yes, it does. Do I consider it a still camera? No, I don't. That's just my personal opinion. It can do stills. Now, the 4K that it does do, we have 8-bit 10-bit as well as 12-bit. It will shoot 25p, 24p, 30p, all right, at 4K, and it will do it in all-I, GOP, MOV, but very interesting is that it will also capture in Cinema DNG. Now, why is that interesting? Well, that is RAW, guys. That is RAW. So when you're actually recording, you're not getting a compressed, let's say, image or a compressed video, you are getting raw video. Very big, but a ton of dynamics, a ton of dynamic range. Fortissimo, pianissimo, get it? I think that's probably where they're going with this. So it's capturing on the entire full frame sensor, raw footage. Like I said, 8-bit, 10-bit, and 12-bit. Now, of course, if you want to go with the 12-bit, you're most likely going to have to record to an external recorder, something like a Blackmagic or like a Ninja, something like that, an Atomos. So what I also found is interesting here is even though we're recording to these external devices, we're not recording with an HDMI out. Does it have an HDMI out? Sure, you can attach a screen to it and watch or a monitor to see what's going on, but it's doing that external feed via USB 3.1. I thought that was kind of cool, how they decided to do that in comparison to HDMI out to the external recorders. Why that is, I don't know, but I'm sure there's a reason behind it. Now, of course, it does do 1080p. A lot of folks like me and probably you, we want still 1080p, even though 4K is great. Why? Because we want the higher frame rates. Now, in 1080p, it will record 422, which is great, an MOV file, and it'll do it at 24p, 25p, 30p, 60p, and a grand 120p, which is awesome. Now, I would really like to have seen 60p in 4K. But we don't see that. According to all the specs, we're only going up to 30p. So that's going to limit some of the people that might look at this camera as an alternative to what they currently have because they need the extra frame rate. 60p is very common today, especially for YouTubers, right? We love 60p. It looks very real, like you're actually here with us. Now, it does 12-bit as well as 14-bit. Now, the 14-bit is lossless. Like I said, this is raw, straight raw video. That's the only camera that I know in this specific market that actually even captures raw. Now, Nikon is saying that they're going to be doing an update that will allow you to capture raw, of course, on an external device, maybe a Blackmagic or a Ninja or something, but we haven't seen that as of yet. So this is true raw video. So cinema guys are going to absolutely love this just for the dynamic range alone and being able to grade it after the fact. Now, the one thing that I don't like here is the way it's pulling focus. According to what I'm reading is it does it via contrast detection, contrast-based autofocus tracking. I'm not a fan of it. I really like, for example, a DP or a dual pixel type of tracking. Why? Because it just simply works. You have both phase detection as well as contrast detection working together to do a fantastic job to really lock in on the subject. Now, this is very similar to what Panasonic did with their GH line, and that was one of the reasons why a lot of the guys that I know decided to go away from Panasonic because pulling focus was just horrible. It just wouldn't lock on. It would go to the back, to the front. Now, Panasonic has been doing better with their S1 and their S1R lineup, right? That camera is doing better when it comes to holding that focus or grabbing focus and tracking in comparison to the GH line. So that's good. It is still only contrast detection, just like this camera. It doesn't have a mechanical shutter at all. Only an electronic shutter. So I'm going to guess this is going to have some rolling shutter issues. I don't know how it mitigates it. I'm sure they probably did a lot of work on the back end to get that rolling shutter out of there because they're pushing this towards cinema folks. Cinema do not want rolling shutter, okay? You can't shoot when stuff is looking like Jell-O. All right, you just simply can't. So that is going to be, to me, a downside, but maybe they have, like I said, mitigated to such a degree that it won't be an issue. We will see. Now, what's really interesting is their ISO. Now, normally you would see something like 100 ISO to 25,600 ISO, and that's what this is. But when you see its extended range, it comes up as like 6 ISO all the way up to 102,400 ISO. What is 6 ISO? Is it a typo? It's supposed to be 60? I don't know, but it shows up as 6 ISO. I never heard of it. I don't even know what that is. Okay, so maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with that dynamic range or something, right? I don't know. Anyways, I do also like the way that it's treating heat. Now, you hear me always talk about heat. Whenever a new camera comes out and it has to do with video and capturing video extremely quickly or really high bit rates when it's having to do a lot of crunching and processing on the back end, heat is the #1 problem. Okay, you'll see cameras overheating left and right because of heat, especially recording for long extended periods of time. Now, this camera is supposed to deal with that with like this heat sink thing that they have going on in between the sensor and the back LCD. Really cool, guys. I like the way they're doing this ducting, this venting, but it's supposed to also remain water sealed. I don't know how that's even possible. Maybe it's really not, but I think I've read that it was water sealed still. I don't get it. But it has this very similar ducting that you would see on an Apple. If you look at the top of like an iMac, it has all this ducting and how they route the heat out of that aluminum chassis. Very cool. Very, very cool. This is something to look out for because a lot of the camera manufacturers that are capturing video are really fighting with heat. And they're going smaller and smaller and smaller in their footprint. And now having to deal with heat makes it very difficult, right? We know Canon deals with it. I use a Canon C-Series whenever I do professional capture. Why? When I do professional video, it's probably like a C300 or something like that. Why is that? Because it has a massive fan blowing on the sensor. So I can be capturing 4K all day long and never even shut the thing off and not worry about it overheating. Very, very important. So maybe this heatsink system has really done something amazing for them. I can't wait to see how this works out and get some numbers from people that actually record with it for an extended period of time. This is big. That is very, very big in my personal opinion. I do see this camera as almost like Sigma taking a page out of the playbook of Fujifilm. Why do I say that? Because Fujifilm, as of late, all their GFX lineup is very modular, okay? It's breaking things down and allowing the customer to purchase what they need or what they want. If they need it, good. If they don't, they don't. This camera has been made that way. Very, very modular. You can go very basic, very small, very tight, very lean, or you can just make it into this big cinema contraption, all right, to pull focus, to have your external recorder set up on it, your video monitor, all of this stuff, okay? You can really just build it however you like it. Spend as little as you want or as much as you want. I really like that. I do like that a lot. Now, I do think that Blackmagic is going to have to be vigilant about what happens with this Sigma camera. And the reason being is if the price is right, it's really going to push on their Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera really hard because this has a larger sensor in there. So I'm going to guess it's probably going to do better at ISO, right? Being able to shoot higher ISO in situations is really, really important to be able to get usable footage or not usable footage, right, guys? So that is going to be a major factor. We are going to see a ton of dynamic range when it comes to raw video. So what's going to happen with that? I really don't know, and how Blackmagic's going to handle it, we will see. So now a lot of you guys are probably saying, how much is it? Sign me up, Joe. Sign me up. This sounds like an awesome camera. Well, I really don't know how much it's going to be, but let me speculate for a minute. I'm guessing that it's going to be higher than the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema. Now, that comes in at about $1,300, but I think it's going to be below that $2,000 mark. So To me, I'm going to say it's going to be somewhere right around maybe $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 for the base model. Remember, this is modular. You're going to be able to extrapolate on that base model with more and more and more goodness to be able to get it to a camera exactly to your needs, which I think is great. I think that we are moving in that direction. It's almost like open source, right? An open source camera where you put the software engine that you need in the camera, right? That's cool. Just if you need something to be able to capture time lapse, then you put that in there. If you need something to do whatever, you put it in whatever. An open source type of thing. I like that idea of a modular anything. Build what you need. Spend exactly what you need. Don't overspend. Don't buy stuff that you absolutely don't need. And having a camera that's like this, where it starts out very, very basic, very, very small, and then you can just build on that. I like it. I really do. Sigma might be onto something here. There's a couple of things that I noted. For example, the 60p issue at 4K, I think is an issue. The capturing autofocus contrast detect in comparison to a dual or a phase detect and contrast, I think is an issue, but maybe they can get around it. Heat is the #1 factor. And if they can take care of heat and really get this camera to just record and record and record, especially at RAW, I think that they have something here. I really, really do. So my question to you is, who's this camera for? Is it for you? Do you like it? Is it something that you would put into your stable? Is 60p an issue? Is that autofocus a problem? Or is this capturing RAW, 422, 12-bit, lossless, so important, especially at 4K, that will allow you to do your work, your business, whatever it is, more easily? Let me know. What do you think? I'm very interested. Like I said, I shoot with the Canon cinema cameras when it comes to professional videography. So I'm very interested to see what this does, because at a form factor that's so tiny in comparison to something so big as this one of the cinema cameras, like a C300, it would give greater latitude to different things that I can possibly do to it. Maybe put it in an end of a gimbal a lot easier. But at any rate, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the new Sigma FP? So that's it, guys. As always, if you enjoy my content, throw me a big thumbs up. That would be awesome. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon so when it is available, you will be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. That would be awesome. Awesome. So that's it. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Happy shooting. Take care, guys.